A new report has revealed now is the worst time for first home buyers in 65 years. The Infometrics research out this morning says overinflated house prices and increasing mortgage rates make it almost impossible to get on the property ladder. Infometrics chief forecaster Gareth Kennan's with us this morning. Gareth, good morning.
Morning, Ryan.
Is this correct? The worst time in 65 years to be a first home buyer?
Yeah, that's correct. I mean, house prices have risen so far that you need a big deposit to get into the market. And the risk is that over the next 25 years, you're devoting a massive proportion of your income to actually servicing that mortgage, which means that you're not going to have a lot of money to spare to left over for other things. And the risk is also at the moment, as we're seeing house prices fall, you could be paying too much for property, so you're not going to be enjoying the capital gains and price appreciation that previous generations have as well.
Okay, so is this just about house prices, or is this mainly now about mortgage rates, interest rates going up as well?
No, it's primarily house prices. I mean, we saw through 2020 and 2021 with mortgage rates falling down to below 2.5% that house prices responded to that, and people said, well, I can service a larger mortgage because interest rates are so low. But that's not the main part of the story. The affordability crisis has really been building for 30 or 40 years as house prices have continued to run well ahead of incomes, meaning that it's just got more and more unaffordable for people trying to get onto the ladder.
Okay, in the long run though, and just playing devil's advocate for a minute, if you can buy a house, it is worth it in the long run because of the capital gains that you can get, right?
Well, everyone thinks that house prices only go up, and you look at the history of New Zealand, that has generally been the case. But the problem is, if you're buying now today, we've had a period for 10 or 11 years where house prices have risen substantially, and they have got less and less affordable. There's less scope for those house prices to actually keep rising at the rate they have done previously. So, yeah, they might go up, but they're not going to go up at the same rate as your grandparents.
Gareth, I hate to interrupt you there, but that's what everyone's always said, and it always happens. It
does, but I mean, I guess it's just the sort of sheer weight of the numbers. At the moment, look, house prices in Auckland have actually fallen 11% over the last 6 months. So there is a reversal going on as interest rates have started to rise. And the real risk is that you are buying now, if you're looking to buy now, you pay too much and you could be paying less in 12 or 24 months' time.
Yeah. Let's do the battle of the generations, because, be it grandmothers or parents have always said, back in my day, things were a lot harder. So in the 80s, for example, they had interest rates up to 20%. Have you looked at this issue, and can you tell us definitively this morning, Gareth, who is doing it worse, who did it worse?
Yeah, look, the thing about buying in 1987 with those interest rates of 20%, inflation was also high at that point in time, so your income rose pretty rapidly. By the time you were finishing paying off your mortgage, it was taking less than 10% of your income to meet that mortgage. When we look forward from here, for a current buyer, in 2046, they could still be paying 22% of their mortgage, 22% of their income, more than twice as much as your parents, and certainly worse than your grandparents as well. So, yes, in my view, it's definitively worse for your current first-home buyer.
What proportion of the market at the moment is first-home buyers buying a house?
I believe it's around about 20%, maybe a little under that. We've seen the numbers over the last year. Investors have dropped away. First-home buyers have stayed in the market a little bit more because the LVR restrictions for them are not as tough. But as those interest rates have risen, basically demand right across the market has been slipping away.
Yeah, but it's interesting, isn't it? Even though you say it's the worst in 65 years, people are still buying homes. A fifth of the market is first-home buyers, and that's been 20 to 25 up to 30% over the last few years. What does that tell us?
Basically, look, if you're a first-home buyer, if you're choosing to try and get into the property market, it's often dictated by your age, your stage of life. There's lots of other things that affect your housing decisions. So we're not saying for first-home buyers, don't try and get into the market. Sure, over the next couple of years, the prices may change, but the reality is that people are going to buy property anyway. the unfortunate thing for the current generation of millennials is that it is the worst time, but they may, they'll still be wanting to settle down, have a family, those type of things, and home ownership does have a lot of benefits in those regards.
Yeah, and I guess the word house is up to interpretation too, isn't it? Whether it's a one-bedroom closet somewhere or actually a three-bedder. Thanks very much for your time this morning, Gareth. It's Infometrics Chief Forecaster Gareth Kiernan with us.